All right, how's it going, everybody? Here's my presentation. I am Rob Frenzel. We're going to be talking about management and leadership theories today. Let's see. And so the idea was we were supposed to come up with something that would be a potential problem in a government agency. And since I work in one, I chose my own. So I work in the assessor's office for Los Angeles County, which a lot of people don't necessarily know what we do. So, not to get into the weeds too much, I'll try and do a brief explanation here. So, in California, we have what's known as Proposition 13, which passed in 1978. Which means that the way that we do property taxes in this state are different than most other states. Most states, property is cyclically reassessed, which means somebody goes out, appraises your property every few years, and that's how much you pay in property taxes. In California, we're event based, not cycle based. So we can only go out and check on property tax status if some kind of event happens, if the property is sold, if there is a major remodel, that type of stuff. So if there's a permit pulled, that gives us a reason to go out, and then we can look to see what the proper value of that property is for. So we go out for things like new construction, obviously, if somebody's building a brand new house or a subdivision, that's something that we go out for. Household remodels, usually if it's something minor like you're redoing your kitchen, that probably doesn't add any value to your tax roll. If it's a major thing where you're gutting the house and taking it down to the studs and rebuilding essentially a brand new house, that may require a reappraisal. Some people might know this, but things like HVAC units usually will require a permit of some sort, and then we get notified, we go out, and that's one of the ways that we discover that, oh, hey, you have now converted your garage into part of your house, so that can change things. Solar panels as well, which gives us an excuse to go out. We don't actually add tax value for this because, the state has decided it's a good idea. We want to encourage people to put solar panels on the house, so we're not going to tax them extra for that. But if you do have unpermitted stuff that's hanging off the back of your house, that might be something that does trigger a visit. So anyway, so what we do is usually our supervisors will put together a parcel run, which is for each parcel unit. We usually will have 5 of them at a time. So I work out of the South District, Los Angeles County, which is more or less everything below the blue line there. And that is actually located not far away. It's in Signal Hill. So I work out of the Signal Hill office. We're accountable for all that stuff below the blue line. So let's say that somebody gets a parcel run in La Mirada, which is right about there. But let's also say that that person lives in Whittier, which is right about there. One of the nice things that we get is we get the autonomy to try to set up our day without necessarily having to check back in with the boss. As long as the work's getting done, everybody's happy. So you can do your research on the parcel in the morning and then drive up here in the afternoon, do your stuff in La Mirada, and then this person, rather than having to drive back to the office to check in, they can just call it a day and go home, generally speaking. As long as the work gets done, everybody's happy. So the problem I came up with is what if people were cutting out early? Say, knocking off at, well, that's going to be kind of a problem. Cutting out at early, going to get a haircut, going to do shopping, that kind of stuff. So it hasn't become an issue, but let's say that it did. So anyway, two schools of thought how to deal with that. Lazy employees that are cutting out early and pretending to do work that they're not doing. There's Theory X, and Theory X is this guy over here who believes that workers are inherently lazy, unmotivated ne'er-do-wells that need to have the hammer brought down upon them to get any good work out of them. And then there's the countervailing theory, Theory Y, which is kind of the softer, friendlier version, believes that workers want to do a good job and will naturally take responsibility upon themselves to accomplish what is necessary. So anyway, here's a bad idea for dealing with this. That's autocratic leadership, which really kind of dovetails with Theory X. Could require a cut in mileage reimbursement, which would really make the union upset. Could require all workers to keep logs of their whereabouts every half hour, which would just be really kind of irritating. Uh, or we do have work issued iPads. They could enable people to, or force people to enable the Find My iPad app so that they can be tracked at all times, which would be rather creepy. Or they might require that workers check in at the office before going home, which again is going to be really kind of a pain in the butt for this person that works in La Mirada and lives in Whittier. They're going to have to spend that hour and a half driving to Signal Hill to say, okay, I'm done, and then back up the 605 to go to Whittier. So really no fun, and especially if they were doing everything the right way. So better ideas would be democratic leadership. Democratic leadership seeks consensus with employees and strategies to compel desired behavior without punitive measures. So it could be something as simple as reminding people of standards and that further violations will result in punitive measures. There's also situational leadership, which it changes based upon the situation and the person being dealt with. So say you've got the lazy employee that is the one knocking off early and not doing what they're supposed to. Basically, maybe you take some of those punitive measures with them, but not with the office as a whole. Anyway, that's my presentation. Thanks for watching, everybody, and catch you next week.